Hello friends, welcome to my channel Math Realization. This episode is on middle term splitting or middle term factorization. So here are 4 questions seen on your screen and they are of different difficulties. So let's start with the first question. So solution of first question. So while you are solving the question of middle term factor, or while you are splitting the middle term, what you have to know is you have to concentrate on the sign that the last number have or last digit have. So it's the last digit have sign or the last term. So here are 3 terms: first term, second term, third term. The terms are splitted by plus or minus. Here may be plus or minus, but our question have plus. So you have to consider this sign, or you have to keep this sign in your mind, and before doing the middle term splitting you have to see that either your question is on quadratic equation or not. So quadratic equation means that is any equation that is in the form of a square plus ax square plus bx plus c. This is our quadratic equation. This is the quadratic equation. So to solve this quadratic equation, or we can solve this quadratic equation, or we can factorize it by middle term factor, and here a, b and c are constant and x is the variable. For this question a is the variable and 5, 1 and 6 are the constant terms. So let's start solving. So while solving, I already told you to keep this sign in mind. It may be plus or minus. For this question it is plus. So write like this. Okay, we will keep the bracket here and plus 6. Here is the plus 6. Okay, so here is plus 6, and first we have to solve this number with this one. Okay, so multiply the last term, first term, the variable having square term, that is x square, the whole term with this digit or this term. And if here is plus, you have to keep the plus here, and while you multiply these two, your answer is 6a square. So now what you have to do is you have to split this 5a such that their addition, because here we have keep the sign addition, while you are adding, the addition must be 5a, and while you are multiplying these two, while you are multiplying these two, the answer must be 6a square. So what you can do, you can factorize 6, 3 times 2, 2 times 1, this. So 3 times 2 is the factor of 6. So what we can do is we can write here 3a times 2a, because while you add 3 and 2 it becomes 5, or while you add 3a or 2a it becomes 5a, and while you multiply these two, your multiplication must be 6a square. So it is correct. So now open the bracket, a square plus 3a plus 2a plus 6, which equals, now take common from these two. You know how to take the common. Here is a common, and what's the remaining here? A is the remaining, and the remaining in this term is 3. Similarly, take the common from these two terms. So while you are taking common from these two, what is the common? Yes, 2. You are correct. 2 is the common, and what's the remaining here? Remaining is a in this term, and in this term what is the remaining? 6 means 2 times 3. 2 is taken out and 3 is the remaining, and you have to keep in mind that the sign must be proper. Okay, so because here are all in addition sign, so it is not so difficult. But in the case of subtraction, we will see on next question, there are some tricks that you have to follow. So let's again take the common from these two terms. So here are two terms, that is there are two terms, because this plus separates the terms. So a plus 3 is the common from these two terms, and the remaining is, what's the remaining in this first term? A. This a is the remaining. And what's the remaining in this term? Yes, 2 is the remaining, plus 2, because its sign is plus. So that's your final answer. It is in factorized form. Factorized form means that is in multiplication form. So this is the solution of your first question. Now let's move on question number 2. So solution of question number 2. While solving question 2, yeah, this is also middle term factor. So what we will do is, first write the question here. 2x square plus x minus 3. 2x square minus x, sorry, plus x minus 3. So I already told you, you have to keep in mind this sign. So what is the sign? Minus. So you have to keep that sign in your mind and write the question like this. Okay, so what's the sign here? Minus. So you have to keep this sign here in between these two terms. Now what's the first we will solve, right like this. And what's the next step? Your next step is you have to multiply these two terms. This is first term, second term, third term. Multiply third term with first term, so it becomes 6x square, is not it? Yes, 6x square. 3 times 2, 6, and x square. Now what's the factor of 6? 3. It is a 6, 2, 1. So 3 times 2, and minus is here. So we have to see that the sign of x is plus, so we will put greater 3x in front and lesser 2 here, because while subtracting 3x minus 2x, it must be plus x. If you keep 2x in front and 3x here, then your answer is minus x. But in the question you have to find plus x. So we will keep 3x in front and 2x at the back, because while you subtracting 3x and 2x, it becomes plus x or plus 1x, because its coefficient is 1. So now it is simple. Now 2x square plus, open the bracket, plus time plus, while you here is plus, nothing means there is 1, and while you are opening the bracket, you have to open like this. Multiply 1 times 33x, 1 times minus 2x, minus 3. Now 2x is, so what is the common here? Sorry, not 2. What is the common here? Only x is the common. X is common, so what's the remaining? 2x plus 3. And what's the common here? Nothing common, but we can take minus 1 as common. So keep in mind that next thing, most of the students are or can do mistake here, because if there is minus sign, you have to take the minus as common. If here is plus sign, you have to take the plus as common. As in question number 1, we have seen here is plus, so we have taken plus sign as common. If here is minus, as in question number 2, if there is minus sign, we can take the minus common. If there is nothing common, then we can take minus 1 as common, because 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 1 is 3, so we can take minus 1 as common. So now what's the remaining here? 2x. See, while you take the minus as common, their sign must be changed. It is minus 2s. Now inside the bracket it becomes 2x, and minus 3 becomes plus 3. Okay, because while you open this bracket by multiplying it with minus 1, it becomes minus 1 times 2x, minus 2x, minus 1 times plus 3 is minus 3. Okay, so that's the rule while you are taking minus as common. change the sign of the terms from which you are taking the minus as common. So now see, there are two terms, this one and this one. So take, what's the common here? Yeah, 2x plus 3 is the common. 2x plus 3 is the common. And what's the remaining in first term? We have taken out this common, so x is the remaining. What's the remaining here? Minus 1 is the remaining. So this is your answer in factorized form. So let's move on question number 3. So our question number 3 is similar with question number 2, and it is like 3x square plus 3, sorry, not x, it is m, 3m minus 6. So first thing what you have to keep in mind is the last term sign. Second thing, so you can see it in by steps. First thing, you have to keep in mind this sign. Second thing, you have to multiply these two. Okay, so let's do it. Then we will discuss other things, how we are solving it. So first I told you, you can write like this, okay, and minus 6. So here is minus, you have to keep the minus sign here. If here is plus, then you have to put the plus sign here. Now 6 times 3, you have to multiply these two terms. 6 times 3 is 18, and factorize it. 2 times 9, 3 times 3, 3 times 1. So these are the factors of 18. So how now we have to find two numbers such that their subtraction must be 3 and their multiplication must be 18. Okay, so or 18m square. So it must be 6 times 3, is not it? 6 times 3 is 18, m times m square, and their subtraction 6 minus 3 must be plus 3. Yeah, here is plus 3. 6 plus 6 minus 3 is plus 3. So now what we can do, we can open the bracket and solve it. 3m, take 3m as common, so 3m is the common. And now what we can do, take m, remaining here we are taking common from these two terms. This is plus 3m, this is plus 6m. So for in first term m is the remaining, and in this second term 2. Yeah, because m is already outside. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 is outside, and 2 is the remaining. Now take the common from these two terms. So if here is minus, you have to write minus here. If here is plus, you have to write plus here. So minus and 3m, and here is 6. So 3 is the common, minus 3 is the common, minus 3 is the common. So what's the remaining here? It is only m. The sign is changed. See here, it is minus outside, you have taken minus outside, so it must be plus. So it is, if it is minus 6, it becomes plus 2, because minus is, we have taken minus outside as common, so its sign must be changed. So don't be confused. So now we have two terms here, these two terms. Now take common from these two terms. So what is the common from these two terms? Let's see. M plus 2 is the common, and I am seeing 3 also as common. 3 is also common here. See, 3 is also common, so take it outside also. Then what is the remaining? Remaining is m in the first term, and what is the remaining here? If there is nothing, if there is no remaining, then you can write 1 if there is no remaining. Okay, so that's your answer for question number 3. Now let's see question number 4, and the question number 4 is little bit different from these 3 questions that you can see. Yeah, the question is like this, and what you can do is, you have to, yes, first you have to keep in mind that your question must be in the quadratic form, that is ax square plus bx plus c. is not it? Ax square plus bx plus c in this form, otherwise you can't solve it. So how you can solve it? So first you have to take out the common. If you are seeing any common in all the three terms, so I am seeing x square c, it is also x square because x4 means x square. We can write x4 as x square into x square, because by laws of indices, if they have same base, the powers are added. 2 plus x to the power 2 plus 2 means x to the power 4. So we can split like this. We can split this x4 as this. Okay, sorry, here is 3 not 4. The question is x3. Here is the power 4, and we can write x cube as x square times x1. Okay, by laws of indices. So let's see. So take the x square as common. What's the remaining? 3x square minus 8x plus 4. Now this expression inside the bracket is seen as quadratic equation. Okay, so now solve it. Solve this quadratic equation. We have nothing to do with this x square because it is outside the bracket. So okay, let's start solving. First what we will do, we will multiply 3 with 4. It becomes 12, is not it? 12 x square. So we have to factorize only 12. So 3 4 the 12, 3 not 3, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2. So it is there, its 12 factors are 3 times 2 times 2, and we have to, first I told you to keep this sign in your mind. So it becomes, first we have to write like this as previously, plus 4. We can write like this, and now at the last term it is plus, it has sign plus, so we will write plus here, and then we have to keep two terms so that their multiplication will be 12 and their addition will be 8. So it is like, what we can write, 6 to the 12. Yeah, 6x times 2x is 12 and their addition is 8. Okay, their addition must be 8. So x square 3x square. Now open the bracket, open this bracket, and minus means here is minus 1. If there is no coefficient, it is minus 1. You can, while multiplying minus inside the bracket, multiply with minus 1. So it becomes minus 6x minus 2x plus 4. So now what we can do is x square. Now take the common from these two terms. 3x is the common. So what's the remaining here? X. And what's the remaining here? Yes, yeah, correct. 2 is the remaining because x is already outside. Now if there is minus sign, you have to take the minus as common, then minus 2, because here is, we can split 4 as 2 times 2. So 2 is, minus 2 is taken out as common. What's the remaining here? X. And what's the remaining here? Yes, minus 2 is the remaining because we have taken minus 2 as common. If you are taking here as plus, then sign is not changed. See here, as in question number 1, if you are taking plus sign, then there is no change in sign here. If it has minus sign, then it becomes minus. If it is plus sign, then it becomes plus. But in the case of minus, you have to change the sign. Okay, so that's the most important rule. While you are taking minus as common, change the sign. Then now take common from these two terms, because this minus splits these two terms. So what's the common here? X minus 2 is the common in both of the terms. What's the remaining in first term? 3x. What's the remaining in second term? Yeah, minus 2. minus 2 is the remaining. Now there is no meaning of this bracket because all are in multiplication, so we can remove this bracket and our answer is like this. This is your final answer in factorized form. So thank you for your patience and this is my first video. If you like it, please subscribe my channel and share with your friends who need to know about middle term. Thank you very much.